Welcome back to Making Money Matter, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and this is a little bit different. It was pointed out to me recently that there was an article written by Chris Uhlmann in the Weekend Australian, dated September the 1st. And I read the article and I thought to myself, I bet a lot of people have either missed the article, haven't read the article, don't understand it, and perhaps have dismissed it. So I am going to read this article to you as part of my way of saying we all need to start to think about renewable energies and the challenges that they will take for our world as we go on. So Chris titled this article, "Fossil Fuel Bans Are Hazardous to Our Health." He says, illiteracy about how the world actually works is everywhere, but is often paraded by some of the nation's most highly educated people. Take Doctors for the Environment Australia. The group's website declares coal, oil, and gas are health hazards. The statement links to a page that encourages people to email a form letter to their local MP that ends with the demand, to protect the health of the Australian people, I call on you as my elected representative to ban all new coal, oil, and gas projects. Reading too much of this sort of stuff may drive you to reach for a Panadol. The doctors among you will know that its active ingredient is acetaminophen, which is made from coal tar. The Smithsonian magazine describes coal tar as a viscous liquid produced when oxygen-deprived coal is subjected to high heat. Now, that is the tip of a very large iceberg on which the doctor's condemnation of coal, oil, and gas founders, because almost nothing in modern medicine would be possible without fossil fuels, and medicine saves a lot of lives. A paper in the American Journal of Public Health notes nearly 99% of pharmaceutical feedstocks and reagents are derived from petrochemicals. Then come plastics, which are central to the antiseptic model of modern healthcare, and they are used in a wide variety of medical devices, supplies, and packaging. Most plastics, as we all know, are derived from petroleum. Now, that part of the story was picked up by a Science Notes article in 2018. Doctors and nurses wash their hands a lot using petroleum-based detergents. Even hand sanitizer contains petrochemicals in the form of carboner polymers and glycerin. Disposable gloves are made from latex, vinyl, and nitrile, all petrochemicals. Disposable syringes, bags that hold blood and saline, and tubing are all made of plastic. Disposable masks, intended to reduce infection of both patients and medical personnel, often consist of synthetic polymers. The fossil fuel saves lives. Still, defense runs deeper still because gas is an essential element in food production. The Haber-Bosch process won its inventors 2 Nobel Prizes in the first quarter of the 20th century. As one German scientist discovered and another scaled up the method for mixing nitrogen from the air with hydrogen from methane to make ammonia for fertilizer. It is estimated that half of the world's population would not be alive today if not for that breakthrough. Go organic, the environmental doctors cry. Well, in 2022, the Sri Lankan conducted a real-world experiment on that, and they banned chemical fertilizer in favor of organic farming. There followed the decimation of tea and rice crops, food shortages, soaring prices, riots, the resignation of the Prime Minister, a presidential apology, and abandonment of the fertilizer ban. Let's step this out a little further while keeping in mind that electricity is not a fuel source, but an energy delivery van. The International Energy Agency estimated fossil fuels accounted for more than 81% of electricity production in 2019. In Australia, the Department of Climate Change and Energy records that fossil fuel contributed 65% of total electricity generation in 2023. I'll repeat that. Fossil fuel contributed 65% of total electricity generation just last year. How many people would die if we shot down all fossil fuel power generation tomorrow? It's argued that carbon emissions from fossil fuels are driving extreme heat and weather events that kill people. As has been noted by Chris before, many of those claims are not supported by the evidence published by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. But given facts do not drive this debate, he makes a few points on the argument. First, the world always has had extreme weather events that kill people, so fossil fuel cannot be blamed for every death. Second, many of those killed by heat waves are the frail, aged who have had their lives extended well beyond their usual measure by petrochemical-based medicine. Third, many more people die from extreme cold. And lastly, how many more would die in even the normal turns of summer and winter if they could not heat or cool their homes? When we sum the deaths the environmental doctors attribute to rising temperatures and include whatever other contraindications for using fossil fuel they may like to nominate, the scales fall heavily towards the continued prescription of oil, coal, and gas. That is what will actually happen in the real world, because even the uncountable ranks of enthusiasts and activists will continue to lead lives that are entirely dependent on fossil fuel while they condemn it. The protest signs they paint, the bikes they ride to demonstrations, the clothes they wear, the food they eat, the drums they beat, and the whistles they blow. They're all made by, contain, or are transported by fossil fuel. But the activists don't see it, and none have any idea of what decarbonizing the globe actually means. The modern world was built by fossil fuel. Removing it from electricity generation is proving desperately difficult. The already impossible plan to have 82% of generation sourced from wind and solar by 2030 simply doesn't work without the life support system of gas. And we don't have enough gas to make it work because energy illiterate ministers in New South Wales and Victorian governments effectively banned its production. So those who claim to care about the environment and oppose new gas projects will be responsible for ensuring the plan for more renewable energy fails. If we solve the problem of decarbonizing electricity, it will be at enormous expense and will just be the base camp of the road to net zero. Then we're going to have to deal with the other 80% of the equation, removing fossil fuel from the manufacture of the 4 pillars of the modern world: steel, plastic, cement, and ammonia. That is going to be unfathomably hard, and all the evidence shows it won't happen. The International Energy Agency's review of the world's stated policies on decarbonizing shows fossil fuel demand will fall from 80% in 2019 to 72% by 2040. How do we get intelligent people to grasp the fierce urgency of now and understand what sustains their lifestyle? Energy consultant Jeff Bongers says, one way coal-fired power plants could get their attention is to close 1 day a week. He calls it fossil-free Fridays. Let's borrow that idea and extend it. Perhaps the members of Doctors for the Environment Australia should start every Friday by skipping breakfast and spending the rest of it trying to do their job or live their lives without using anything associated with fossil fuel. Here they might reflect on an essay by a fellow doctor, William C. Roberts, published on the US National Library of Medicine website. Since nearly all plastics, polymers, inks, paints, fertilizers, and pesticides are made from petrochemicals, and all products are delivered to market by trucks, trains, ships, and aeroplanes, virtually nothing in our offices or on our bodies is not dependent on fossil fuels, he wrote. Doctors can also forget exercising in Lycra. It's a polymer. In fact, maybe everyone should sit this I Spy test. Name something in the built environment that does not have fossil fuel embedded in its substance or delivery. Happily, the US Department of Energy has published a handy list of 6,000 everyday products made with petrochemicals derived from oil and natural gas. Early in the alphabet soup of essentials comes antihistamines, antiseptics, and artificial limbs. It moves on through bandages, cell phones, clothes, and cortisone. Takes a personal hygiene turn at deodorant, toothbrushes, and toothpaste, and makes a point of adding solar panels. And right before it plants its full stop at yarn, it lists wind turbine blades. I read this to you all and urge you to consider the fact that we cannot do without fossil fuels. And I know there are people out there that will condemn me for reading Chris Uhlmann's article. But the fact of them remains that we cannot switch off fossil fuels without doing incredible damage to our cheap baseload power and our fundamental need for so many items in the lives that we lead today, and some of those items that are saving lives as we go through. The reason I bought that and wanted to read that to you today is because I want all of us to start thinking logically. Critical thinking and debate seems to be missing in the national conscience. So I urge all of you to stop watching Netflix, to start getting better educated, and to start understanding that we love the world we live in. Yes, we can do better, but perhaps what we should be looking at is waste instead of getting rid of the petrochemicals that are making our lives more comfortable as we move forward. That's it for now. I'll be back soon with more. Thanks for watching.